Welcome back, everyone. Right now, we are going to get started with a totally new section. We are going to get started dealing with actually, let me go first to the version 2 and yeah. Now we are going to start by creating, editing, and deleting a plan. Okay, the process of creation and edit is actually somehow the same, but there's going to be the edit. We will provide the plan ID, so it's going to be edited. And so we are going to go with them synchronously, the edit and create. And then we will implement delete. We still have at the end just the process of fetching the details and adding to-do items, and this is all what we have to do until we are done. So if we take a look at this, actually what we have over here, we have a post and we have a put. So if you open post to see what they have, you can see that this is the URL and it takes as a body, the type of the body is multi-part form data, because we have a file that has to be uploaded, and to upload a file to an API, we have to submit it, or in the web in general, it goes through a form. So the form is a set of ID and key values. As you can see, title is required, description. ID is not required in the case of plan or of create, but it's required in the case of edit. And the cover file, it's optional. If you don't actually upload this file, that's fine. You can. It's going to take a default picture. So what other thing to mention is at the result, you can see that over here we have ID, title, description. Cover file will not. It's going to be used for send, retrieve the cover URL, and the to-do items. So basically, this is the full detail or the full DTO of the plan. Previously, we have used the plan summary, which is just to show the 3 fields that's required. But for this one, we're going now to create the last DTO, I think, for plans, which is the plan detail. So before we do any of this stuff, let's go ahead and try to simulate this case using Postman, so we can have a better idea about this API. So over here, we have already the login request that's available for us. We are going to use to fit the access token. So I'll click on send over here. And now I get this access token. I'll copy it. And then I will duplicate this tab. I'll go to authorization, choose per year token, and paste this over here. Now let's go to the body. And the type of the body should be a form data. So what you're seeing here, this is what we are going to simulate in C# and .NET. So as you know, the keys are title, title, like this, and the title, plan from Postman. Now the other one is description. This is just a sample plan to test the API. Now this is the file, it's called cover file. Make sure the keys are exactly the same for those. Title, description, cover file. If you missed any letter, then it's going to be a problem. The cover file, we choose here file, and now we can pick a file. Simply, I'll choose this one. And then what I'm gonna do at the end is just hit send. So wait a little bit. And here we go. And oh, interesting, we have got unsupported media type. Oh, sorry, we haven't changed the URL, so we are using for login, so it's API/plans, right? So if we click over here, now click send, and come on, interesting, here we go. You can see that we have got a full DTO that had the to-do items. They are still empty, the cover file URL, and the ID and title, and so on. So that's great and interesting. Now let's go to our application and try to refresh this page. So now we should see the new one actually available for us. So wait a little bit, and here we go. This is our plan. So this is exactly what we are going to do. Now what about edit? What if I want to edit this picture or edit, this plan? What we can do, I will duplicate this, but the type is going to be bot, not post. And the ID actually is required over here. So I should copy the ID. Because they are similar, I will go with them beside each other. So over here in the form, just make sure to add ID. This is the value, and from Postman 2, and I will upload a different picture. So I will take, for example, the new default picture available for us over here. Interesting. Now I'll click send to see if edit is working fine. Interesting. Now it's edited successfully. Number two, and we should have, yeah. Now we have the new name, we have the new picture, and we have the plan has been edited. So let's go ahead right now and move to C# and start testing this actually. So before we do anything, what we have actually to implement is to just simply, we have to implement the new, this one, the full DTO of the plan. So we already have, if we go over here and if I go to shared models, we already have this plan summary that has just the minimum information required to fetch the list of the plans. But when we get one plan or the result of create or edit is actually a full plan. So I'm going to call this one class plan detail. So like that. Interesting. Now, those properties are going to be the same. So what I will do is actually, I will inherit from plan summary. So then those properties are simply available for me right now. And what I have to do is just to add the rest of them, which is, you can see this one. We are going to, for the validation, we are going to use the fluent validation. So I will implement the validation, and actually those are the required. The list over here is just, list of the to-dos. We are going to create that. And one more thing that we need is actually public iForm file, like that, which is, this is a type of, okay, we need to install this library. This is an interface that represents a file that has a stream and the length and so on. And this is what's being submitted to the controller as a file. So, and this one called cover file, like this. So this will go from the client to the server, and this is how we can implement that. And here the list. So this is very clear. Now this is the full details. This is the one that will be retrieved on the create, edit, and when we click get plan page. So it will be, this one will be retrieved. So I will click over here on move type to plan detail. This is interesting. It looks like nothing happened. Okay, great. So now we have created our details. Now let's go to the interfaces, iPlan service, which is the one I'm in, and let's create two ones, API response, plan detail, create async, and actually this one simply takes a plan detail model, and it takes, in addition for that, a string, cover file, and string file name, which is the file, the name of the file that has been chosen from the client. We can simply pass them as parameters like this, or we can just create a symbol object for that. I will do that over here, which is make things a little bit simple. So I will type over here public class forum file. I will call it forum file, and this forum file has a string. And it has string file name. Okay, now I will create a constructor for those. Okay, that's great. Now, this one actually will be used just to pass the file that will be chosen by the user from the forum to this HTTP service. So it's handled in a better way. So I'm going to type forum file, cover file, just like this. And edit is the same. The only difference is that in edit, ID is required. So this is great. Now, what we are going to do is actually, I'll go to validator, which is the next step, and let's create a validator for Fluent validator for the public class. I will call it plan for plan detail. Rule for the property p.title. It is not empty. It should have a value actually with message. Title is required. And we will add as well maximum length for 80. We shouldn't allow him to be less than 80 characters. Now I'm gonna copy this. I will use like that. For description is going to be 500 at most. For example. So the last property that we should validate is the ID, but we are going to do that on the level of the form, and this is being handled also server side, because anyway you cannot edit a plan if you haven't already fetched that. So this one is enough for us. I'll move that. This is great. Awesome. So now the last step is to create or to implement those two functions. I will over here, click on implement. So you can see now we have those two actually available here, and both the type of the body is not like here, or this one is retrieving JSON or sending JSON. Here we will retrieve JSON, but we are going to send a form. So I will create a private function over here, call it prepare. It's going to return HTTP content, which is the body of the request, and I will call it prepare plan form. Plan form will take plan detail, model, form file, cover file, and it will take a flag that says is update, because is update it's going to add the ID. If it's not is update, then we will just ignore it. So great. Now what we are going to do is just to simulate what we have done over here. Add those keys, add this file in case it's out there. So to do that, I will type var form equals new multi-part form data content, just like that. And then we can just add the keys, which is simple. Form.add new as string content. The content is the model dot title, and it takes the name. So this is the value over here, and now we should pass the name, which is or name of plan detail dot title. So in case you have changed that, it's changed automatically. This is great. Now we will, because this one is required, we have added it directly. But for example, if for the description, we have to check if the description is not null. Model.description, then form.add new string content, model.description, name of plan detail.description. Oh, sorry, we should declare that over here. And also, we have to check for the is update. Now, if it's is update, then we should add the ID, right? Model.id, name of plan detail.id. Plan of is just retrieves the string. for this name that you pass over here. But the difference is why we are not passing a hard-coded string is in case we change this value over here, so this automatically gets affected here, and there is no hard-coded string that you have to search across in the project, and because 100% you're going to miss this one. And the last one is to check the file. If cover file is not null, so what you have to do is to type form.add, but this time it's not string content. The same we have done over here. You can see that you can choose between text and file. So file is the stream content. So we should type stream content, and it takes a stream which is cover file dot stream, and no need for all of this. Oh, sorry. Let's see what's missing over here. So the name is cover file. So model. Sorry, name of model.cover file. And the last parameter that you should pass over here is the name of the file, which is the name of the selected file from the client machine. And this one is actually, it's a very simple one. It is cover file dot file name. And right now we have this form, we have this body just ready for us. So I'm gonna type return new form. Return the form, because multi-part form data content is inherited from HTTP content. So this is how we initialize this form. And it's working for both create and edit at the same time, this is the only difference in case it's update. So that's great. Now the rest of the process is very simple and very similar to what we had before. So var form equals and prepare plan form, which is it takes a model, it takes cover file, and it takes vols over here because it's a create process. Now we type var response equals await HTTP client dot post async and repost slash API slash v2 slash plans, and then we pass the content, which is the form, and this is it. Now the rest of the process is very similar to what we have over here. We just copy it, paste, and instead of paged list, actually this one just returns a plan detail, just like that. And that's very simple, right? So let's take this as it is. Actually, we can do some improvements to reduce this amount of repeated code because as you can see, they are all the same. We are gonna figure out a way to make it, to reduce this. It's the same URL, but this one is put async. Read from JSON. You remember that in the login we have used post as JSON async. Here we are just say put async or post async because the content is not JSON, it's a form, and it's returned the same thing and the same stuff. So everything is just ready for us. This is how we have prepared. Now we have just create async, pass this one, pass a stream with the file, and you are just ready to go. The only difference that we have here is to pass true for is update. So it adds the ID as one of the form titles. So this is everything for this session. Now the next one is actually to implement the form of the create and edit, and implement the create function, and then we just modify it a little bit to make it support the edit, and we are just 100% ready to go. So thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.